Hello and welcome back to my channel. So today, today I'm talking about the Walking Dead timeline because it has been something that, before I knew the whole timeline situation, I was curious about the Walking Dead timeline. I was curious as to know how long they've been in the apocalypse and stuff like that, right? I was thinking about how young Judith was at the time, and I was like, Judith should not be this young because she was born in season 3, right? And I was like, they were on like 7 or 8 maybe, I don't remember, right? And I was like, how is she still that little, right? So I was curious about the timeline because I was just like, I don't see how she would still be that young because it didn't make sense just logically, you know what I mean? Because I'm thinking Carl is much older than Judith, right? And Carl, I mean, obviously they were using the same actor, but clearly Carl was obviously older than how he was when the show began. So I was like, clearly it's been some time, you know what I mean? But but Judith was still little, so I was like, okay, I don't see how, you know what I mean? I was confused. When they told us that it had only been 2 years, that was probably the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. I was like, that is dumb as hell, because how 2 years doesn't even make sense. Just logically, it doesn't even make sense, because like I said, Carl was much older from how the show started, and you telling me from the time of like season 1 to maybe 8, maybe 7, and it had only been 2 years. That doesn't make sense at all. Just doesn't make sense at all, right? So then I gave up on the timeline. I stopped. Now, personally, I don't actually bring up the timeline now, because I know that information. I sit quiet with the timeline. I don't say anything because I just feel like it doesn't make any sense. So let's just not make it make sense. The only person that timeline actually makes sense for is Judith, because she was like really young, from season 3 to like 8, right? So she was still little. So I guess that timeline only makes sense for Judith, but not any other character on the show. So yeah, I mean, I personally just don't like talking about the timeline anymore because I just feel like it doesn't make sense and it is never going to make sense. So we shouldn't even sit and talk about it anymore. We should just close our mouths and act like it doesn't exist. That's what I do most of the time. But yeah, no, I don't even like talking about the timeline just because I feel like it doesn't make sense. So why even bring it up? But then they also did like that 6-year time jump from the time that Rick left, you know what I mean? Like when Rick left, they jumped 6 years in the future, which I just feel like was an exaggerated thing. I feel like maybe it shouldn't have been 6 years because I just feel like it was too much time gone by, you know? Currently, like where we are right now with the show, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no freaking clue how much time has gone by. I don't even know. I don't know at all. I have no clue because personally, I just feel like it doesn't make sense anymore. So I'm just like, I'm not even gonna worry about it. The timeline is kind of irrelevant to me now at this point because yes, it's cute to know how long they've been dealing with the apocalypse, but like we don't really need to know because it doesn't really do anything for the story in any kind of way. But so yeah, no, I'm not even worried about it, honestly. I just feel like they need to be more like, you know what I mean? They need to think about it a little better before they just go like, oh, it's only been 2 years, because I just feel like that didn't make sense when they said it. It still doesn't make sense now. There's no way that they can work that out. I don't see how that even makes sense. You know what I mean? Like I said, it just doesn't make sense with a lot of other characters. If that balls, it's gonna be a whole other story. But yeah, it doesn't make sense with a lot of characters, and the timeline doesn't make sense just in general. So it's like, you know what I mean? But look, like I said, they're gonna do whatever they're gonna do, and honestly, like I said, I'm fed up with the timeline situation because like I said, I wanted to know how long it's been just because I mean it'd be a cool fact to know, I guess, or just be like, oh, they've been dealing with this for that long, you know what I mean? But personally, it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't really do anything for the story or for any character in general. It just kind of, it's good thing to know, cool thing to know, I guess, you know what I mean? But yeah, no, I mean they told us it was only 2 years, which didn't make any sense at all. And then they did like the 6-year thing. Like that, I think the 6-year thing was too much. I feel like it was too much time gone by. I don't know why. I just feel like 6 years was too much. You know what I mean? And 2 years was too little. Yeah, for the most part, I feel like the timeline is just genuinely ridiculous. I don't really like the way that they did that. I don't like how they like, oh, it's only been 2 years. It doesn't make sense at all in no way, shape, or form. So I just gave up on it entirely. But yeah, I just want to say that. But anyway, Yeah, the timeline is dumb and stupid, and they really did not put a lot of thought into it. That timeline only works for Judith, not for anybody else on the show. So, with that being said, well, actually, I'm just going off of Carl because really, with the adults, you really can't tell. I mean, you could judge it by a beard, but not really. You know what I mean? Like, Rick had a big beard, it doesn't matter. Like, it's like maybe his hair grows back. So, that's not like, we can't really judge it by any other character other than Carl. Carl's the only character that I go, like, that timeline doesn't make any sense. Because when the show started, Carl was like little, and then by the time he left the show, he was like nearly grown. So I'm just like, you know what I mean? It didn't make sense to me. So I'm just like, the only person that I'm basing that off of is Carl, because every other character you really can't tell. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You really can't tell. So yeah, that timeline really does not make sense to me. But hey, it's whatever. I mean, it is what it is. How many things on The Walking Dead make sense? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But you know, whatever. Anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching, I guess. I mean, I don't like the timeline and it sucks and yeah, but whatever, we deal with it. It's fine. But yeah, so that's all. Thanks for watching. Also, I changed my calendar to July. It's not accurate, but bye.